Go. All right. Now, my friends, we are at the last the chapters of this beautiful speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991 to inspire us and to open up our eyes and reorient us to what is reality. The reality is that this world is infinitely important to God. And so to speak, God did not exist before he created this world. What does that mean? Because God doesn't really exist at all. God creates all existence. Existence is a creation of God. What is God himself? It's incomprehensible. There's no term in existence, no thing in existence, not even the angels, that can in any way comprehend what God is. God is too real for that, to be limited in any way. But on the other hand, God is creating everything. So God obviously does exist. I mean, here we are. So we're being created. But this world, God creates this world. It's not just that he spit over his shoulder or something. Every detail of this world is infinitely important. It's not just that it was important when he made it, and then he went on to bigger and better things, like a painter, he makes one painting and then he makes other paintings, but there's one painting that he really likes. No, it's not so. God is creating this world all the time. And in fact, time itself is just a creation. Good. But the whole thing depends on us. The field, the importance, the godliness of this world, to reveal it depends on us. Says the Rebbe, that's the whole idea of creation. That's the idea of numbers, right? Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the oneness of God, and there seems to be something else, the world, and then there's the world seems to oppose God, and then there's you can make a synthesis between them, and then you can get above that, and then you can just be serving the Creator and waiting for the future redemption. Says the Rebbe, that's the number 5. The number 1 is the oneness of God. Number 2 is the world seems to be opposing. Number 3 is like the Torah that unifies them. Number 4 is how we use the Torah in order to fix up the world. But number 5 is, so to speak, the world already fixed up. That's already outside of all of these opposites and how do you say, lower dynamics. This is a whole new realm of truth and reality, and it's all dependent on us. And it's all reflected through us. Man is the whole essence of this business. Man is the whole essence of the thing. What man does. That's the whole story of the Bible, right? God creates the world. In 6 days, he creates the world. The last thing he creates is man. And he says, man, do me a favor and improve the world. And I'm going to put you in heaven. There's not going to be any difficulties. Just that all of a sudden there was one snake messed the whole thing up. One snake. Okay. So we're still fighting against that snake to this very day. And one way to do it is to know what the truth is. The snake just wants to, how do you say, there's a word for it, I can't remember. Anyway, so he wants to change the direction of our thoughts. Why can't I remember this word? Anyway, he wants to catch our attention. He wants to catch our attention that really God is important and God and the world is important. And the snake says, but you're also important. You know what pleasure is? No, watch this. Hey, that's pretty good. Hey, whoa, hey, that's pretty good. Pleasure. Wow, you know what success is? No, I don't know. Here, wow, hey, success, pleasure. That's the name of the game. Success, and pleasure, and freedom, and doing what you want to, and get rid of that conscience and get rid of this. That's the war we're fighting against. Be a little bit lazy, take it easy, because the whole goal is to make this world perfect. Okay, Me'aharos, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? So the Rebbe said, we have to be strong. We have to be strong. We have to treat it as though we're fighting this battle alone. And the fact is that God is doing the whole business. He's helping us, but we have to be strong and do it all on our own. That's what God put us here. When Adam was standing against his wife, against the snake, against this, he had to do it on his own. Right? When the snake pushed Eve, Chava, there wasn't a voice coming out from heaven saying, "Don't do it, don't listen to him, it's a trick." No, she was on her own. And so to speak, we are also on our own. We have to do the battle ourselves. When we look at it in retrospect, we'll see we're not on our own at all, and that God is constantly helping us and constantly sending us messages. But on the other hand, He wants that we should have free will, and He wants us to overcome difficulties. And difficulties are not lacking. One of the things we can learn from this Lamaisa Bapur, what we should actually do, that we are now on Shabbat Chazak. We are now on Shabbat Chazak. We are saying Chazak, Chazak, Vanit Chazak, be strong, and we'll be strengthened. And we're finishing the fourth book of the Bible, the 5 books. Shabo, that in it, Matchilim Sefer Chamishim, we're beginning the 5th book of the Bible. Ubafran, and especially Keshachal B'Chodesh Chamishi, now we are entering the 5th month. The first month in the Jewish calendar is Nisan. And the 5th month is the month of Av. Shabo, that in it, Mudgash is stressed, HaChozek v'HaTokef, the power, the Beit HaMikdash Atid, and the future redemption, the Geula Atid, and the future redemption that is going to be. We said the number 3, that there's going to be the 3rd temple, and we'll get the 3rd exile, and some people say that there's 5 exiles, and we're finishing the 5th one now. Shehi, which is Lo Rak Geula Shlisis, is not just the 3rd redemption, and it's also the 4th redemption, and it's also, it says, until Geula Chamish is the 5th redemption. That we went out of not only Egypt and Babylon and what is it, Greece and Persia, we're also going out of Rome. Liyot, because Lamaila Lagamri Mechiluki Dargos, this is higher than any levels of the first temple, the second temple, the first redemption, the second redemption. Surich Liyot, there has to be Adgasha Miucheres Benogel and Nakuda Achtus. There has to be specially stressed the idea of a type of a unity which is above any division. Right? Like, just take an example, past, present, and future. You can say, well, there's the past and there's the future. All of this is unified by now, by right now. Right now we're alive. Right now we're here. We can learn from the past and we can plan for the future. But the future gives us hope and the past gives us wisdom. But where we are is right now. So what are we supposed to do with our right now? That's like the 3rd level. This is the right now is we can elevate ourselves to be above time. That's like the 4th level. And the 5th level is that we can even be above that. We're not looking at all these differences. We're just doing what God wants, whatever God sends to us, right? Wherever He sends in front of us, that's what we do. The Inyan Zen, this Boba Maisa Paul comes actually by Halicha B'Darachav Shel Aaron. We have to learn from Aaron, the Kohen, to learn from Aaron. Why from Aaron? Because Aaron passed away on the 1st day of the 5th month. That's what it says in this week's Torah portion. Like it says in Pirkei Avot, which we're also doing after Mincha. It says, Havi Talmidiv Shel Aaron. You have to be you have to learn, be a pupil of Aaron. What did Aaron do? Oev Shalom, he loved peace. Rodev Shalom, he pursued peace. Oev et Briot, he loved even the Briot, the creations. Umakarvim the Torah, and he drew them to Torah. What does it mean? We talked about this before. There are some Jews, it says in the Hasidut many times, there are some Jews that the only thing you can say about them good is that God creates them. God creates everything. Say, listen, God is creating. Why God is creating this person, I have absolutely no idea. Right? Is just, only trouble, doesn't do anything good, only does something bad, but God is creating them. So if God is creating them, there must be some, if I personally wouldn't create him, but God knows better than me. Also, could it be that if I was God, I wouldn't create me either. And I would stay up in God's realm, whatever it is. So obviously God has a different plan than what I have. So if God is creating this person, so it says a person like that, you have to makar him the Torah, bring him closer to Torah. Al Yedei Zen, by means of this, Shemagalim Nekudas Achdus, by means of how can you bring a person like this closer to the Torah? By revealing the inner point of oneness, which is above any division. Right? I am this type of a person, and he is that type of a person. I'm a Democrat. He's a Republican. I'm religious. He's not. He's a this, whatever. All the differences you can find, leave it all behind. You're just one thing. I'm being created by God. He's being created by God. God loves me. He's creating me from love. He's creating him from love. I have to give some of my love to this person. How you do it and when you do it, you have to take advice. Not everybody you can love in the same way. Some people, if they're evil, right? The temptation is to flatter them and to praise them, and you call that being loving. Okay, so you have to watch out. You have to take advice from people. It's not. This is just a guidelines. What the Rebbe is saying. You have to have a teacher. You have to have an advisor. You have to talk it over with a friend. What exactly is implied? How you should love people, when you should love people, etc. But the fact is that should be the goal. Okay. Ubafratios, and especially even more detail, Alpi Diok Mishnah, what the Mishnah says, Habi Talmid Shel Aaron, you have to be a pupil of Aaron. That's what we have to do. Our goal is to be positive, to show love to every Jew and eventually every person, but love begins at home. You have to be the pupils of Aaron because the Jewish people are the only ones that are obligated to do the Torah. The non-Jews have, it's called 7 Noahide commandments. So you should love everybody. I don't know if I told you the story. Maybe I'll tell you the story today. It's a good story. Afterwards, we'll see. I'll ask you if you found it. Okay. Have, you should be. Have, it's a tzivur, it's a commandment. Have, you should be. Have means be. It's a commandment. Be among the pupils of Aaron. Be a pupil of Aaron. Have, it's a commandment. She'en ze rak sipur. It's not just a nice story. Al derech hanhaga mina chasidus. This is a good way to be. Nice thing. Good advice. Kabakama minyanim, like a lot of things in the Pirkei Avot, in the Elot Tzivur, this is a commandment. You must be a pupil of Aaron. Yesh lo Moshiach Havei. This is also Natinat Reshut ve'Yacholat. It's also God is saying it, so it means that God is giving us the ability and He's giving us opening the door, the possibility and the ability. You can be a pupil of Aaron. Okay, the door is open for me, but I can do it, but it's very hard. He says, don't worry, I'm giving you the power to do it as well. Like somebody wrote to me, he said, what the fact that I'm a good pianist is not, some people say it's a gift from God. It's not a gift from God. I had to work hard for 18 years, hours and hours every day to be great. Don't say it's a good. So where'd you get the ability to work hard hours and hours every day for 18 years? Where a lot of people don't have that. They would give up. But where did you get that ability, that fortitude to do it? That's not a gift from God. It's also a gift from God. Okay, so it says, therefore, we're saying you should be one of the pupils of Aaron. You must be, and you can be. And God is saying, I am enabling you to be one of the pupils of Aaron. That you can actually find a unifying positive point in every single Jew. And from that, in every single person. Talmid of Aaron, the pupils of Aaron specific, that's number one. Number two, you have to be a pupil of Aaron Rabin. Be Talmidav. It says be among the pupils. It doesn't say be a pupil of Aaron, like I just finished saying. No, it says be among the pupils of Aaron. You should try to convince others to do the same. To open up this point of love in everyone. By means of this, there is added Yoter mitzara inyan de kina sofrim tar bechachma. If you do things with a lot of other people, then you see good qualities on the other people that you can copy, you can learn from. That's what's called the jealousy of wise men increases wisdom. It's a good type of jealousy. And it says that you should Tar bechachma, you should increase wisdom. Daika sheriboy amiti, the true increasing is without any limit. Hainu lo rak ba'ofen the bekal mildecha, you should serve, try to be like Aaron, with arouse this love, like it says, bechal mildecha, with all of your being, your personal being. Even though that this is medida v'hagbala, even though that, let's say, you're better than someone else, without any limit, even regarding your other friend. It's not that you're just better than everybody else, that you're always constantly increasing better than yourself. All the pupils of Aaron, until you really truly become unlimited love. Unlimited love means that you're only looking toward God. You're comparing yourself to God. God has infinite love, right? I'm not going to be better than that, but I can at least strive for that. There is, like in sports and everything. I don't think that there's anything in the world that there's not competition in. So competition can be a bad thing, and competition can be a very good thing. Competition can be a bad thing because, it'll discourage you. I'm always losing. If you were doing it on your own, you'd never lose. Huh? Never lose, that's good. On the other hand, you'd never improve. At least to the degree that you do when there's competition, say, well, I'm going to be better than him, or I'm going to learn from him. All of a sudden, there's other people, you can learn from them, right? He expresses his potential, I can do my potential. Sometimes being better than someone else, right? What you learn from them is not necessarily that you can run faster or that you can jump higher or that you can try more. Sometimes the effort is more important than the success. But in any case, among many people together, as you can learn from others, you are inspired and activated by others. That's what it says, be talmidav shel Aaron. You should be the pupils of Aaron. If there's no one else, do it alone. But you should try to bring other people also to realize that this is a goal in life that everybody wants, to be more loving and positive. And we can also add on lahagdish a kesher, a sheikhas of loving every Jew, legeula atida, to the future redemption. Lo rak mipnei bittul hagalos, not just because it negates the bad things by means of negating the reason for those bad things. It says the temple was destroyed because people hated each other for no reason. So let's get rid of that, right? And then the future redemption is going to come. It says, okay, that's one thing, getting rid of the bad. That the whole exile that we're in comes because there is a lack of loving every Jew. Because we are standing. Now, after all of the work that we've done in the whole course of the exile, and we've already finished the 42 journeys, the Midbar Amim. I mean, here we are, we're in 2026, and there's been, let's say 2026 years of just oppression from the Jews. In the time, and that's only from the second temple, but the fact of the matter is that the first temple was also destroyed, and the Jews also suffered, and the Jews made their own suffering a lot of times also. So, and all this time, there were still, despite all of the difficulties and all of the obstacles, and there was one generation that suffered because of the previous generation, like us, right? The temple was destroyed because of what the Jews did back then, 2,000 plus years ago, continuously. And so we have to suffer now. And nevertheless, we have thousands of years of Jews not asking questions and saying, okay, I'm serving God. It's difficult. There's hatred. There's this. And what we have now in our generation is nothing compared to the previous generations. Nothing. Any country that you're in nowadays, I think even if you're in Iran, you can learn Torah, you can do the commandments. You're not going to get thrown into a gas chamber, right? There's not going to be any pogroms and people are going to come and beat you up just because you're doing a Torah, you're doing commandments. You do Torah and commandments anyway. So the previous generations, they went through all these troubles and they still held on to Judaism. That's why we even know we're Jews today. because of the sufferings of the previous generation and the fact that our previous generations were not negatively affected by those sufferings, which doesn't make any sense. But nevertheless, that's it. A Jew doesn't make any sense. So Nimsav, so we are now, says the Rebbe, Yarden Yerecho, we're just on the other side of the redemption. Calls them on Meshach HaGolus. We're at the end of everything. We finished all of the 42 journeys. Oh, we did that. Now we're in the level of Yarden Yerecho, which that's the level of the Moshiach. We said that Yerecho means that he smells, Uriach, and Sofa Geula, the redemption is going to be in another second. But I certainly that we've already fixed up the whole reason that there was an exile. And therefore, Hadgasha, now we have to just think about not just not hating other people. Now we have to stress even more loving every Jew. Betor te'ima va'ad l'tchalta de Geula, the beginning of the future true redemption. Geula amitit v'shleima hakashur, which is connected to nakudas ha'achdus, the level of unity which is above any division. It used to be, even just in the previous generations, there was like, especially the Zionists, there were people that were like vituperous, hated religion, hated religious people, hated the Torah. Jews. Like we say, who put the previous Rebbe into prison, wanted to kill him? Jews. There don't exist Jews like that anymore, that are willing to take a gun out and shoot you in the head because you're a Jew, because you're religious. Jews. Huh? That are willing to tear down synagogues and shuls, and it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, as far as there's individual, maniacs, they'll talk, they'll do this, but to that degree, I don't think. I mean, listen, everybody is in. If so, now the main stress is to unify the Jews. Mitzad bechinas yechida. Shebakol Yisrael, all the Jews are equal. She needs the spark of the Moshiach, which is inside of every Jew without exception. This is the level of Yechida. According to this, now we can add on what says the Karvan, the Torah. That's what it says, love the creations and bring them close to the Torah. Sha'amakuvan, the intention is Lakiruv Lalimu Torah, that they should bring Jews close to learning Torah about the Geula Tira, about the future redemption. Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitze. The new Torah that's going to be revealed by the Mashiach. What's the mean, the new Torah? That it'll be a Torah that people won't be able to twist. They won't be able to twist the Torah. There won't be such a thing like that anymore. Here they have the whole Christianity is based on taking the Torah and twisting it around and changing the meaning of all the sentences and defiling it and detouring it and all of this, right? Because you don't feel the godliness in the Torah. The Torah is just this book, that was given by Moses. Maybe it changed, maybe it doesn't exist anymore, right? The same thing with Islam. Islam comes because they say the Jews lost the Torah. They don't have the Torah anymore. Well, there's going to be a new Torah that no one is going to be able to say that anymore. No one is going to be able to deface or defile or whatever the Torah. Everyone will feel that the Torah comes from the God who's creating them. Creating from the Creator. Everybody thinks that they themselves are important. The Torah is infinitely more important. It comes from the Creator. Everyone will feel the newness of the Torah. That's what it means, a new Torah. The kasha, then that's what it means to bring them close to the Torah. It means to bring them close to the Torah of the Moshiach, where everybody feels the godliness of the Torah. This, we can also connect this with the Maimer of Mishnah, what says in the Mishnah Perki Avot, and this Shabbos is Rabbi Shimon Omar Havi Zahir B'Kriya B'Tfila. Rabbi Shimon, the Shimon Bar Yochai, said, Rabbi Shimon Bar Natanel, right? This Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon Bar Ben Natanel, right? He said you have to be Zahir, careful in saying Shema and in prayer. But the word Zahir also means to shine, like the Zohar. Rabbi Shimon of our Mishnah is Rabbi Shimon ben Natanel. This is one of the 5 pupils of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And it says the Haim Amu, they said 3 things. It says the 5 pupils, each one of the pupils said 5 things. And and he's called over here Rabbi Shimon. He's just called Rabbi Shimon to hint at what? Sheikhos to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Because whenever it's mentioned in the Mishnah or in the Talmud, Rabbi Shimon is referring to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He's the one that wrote the Zohar. It says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Torah Toam Umnato. All he did was learn Torah. Kol elam yuchad limud penimius Torah. Like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai married the Zohar. He was the one who brought us the book, the Zohar, secrets of the Torah. Kafisha Metzino, like we find the Rabbi Shimon ben Natanel, he petach b'maisa merkava, that he says that he learned the secrets of the Torah, what's called the the upper supernal chariot. Okay, the reason that Rabbi Shimon stresses that you have to be careful in Shema, saying Shema Yisrael, and prayer. What does it mean be careful? That you have to be careful to intend the proper, right, the simple meaning of the words. When you say it, you should be thinking about what you're saying. Even though that he should have stressed Torah, the main thing of Rabbi Shimon and also Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was learning the Torah. Why does he say you have to be careful when you say Shema and when you pray? The main thing is you have to be careful when you learn Torah. Both in the Torah, because that's the way of Rabbi Shimon, that all he did was learn Torah. He said, because this idea of that your Torah becomes the only thing you do, but that you never stop, you don't even stop for Kriya Shema and prayer, because this is Anahaga Miyucheres Sheshaycha Lichidi Segula. This is only for special people that can just sit and learn Torah all the time. Look, and therefore, Rabbi Shimon said to his pupils that maybe great people, they can sit and learn Torah all the time and connect to God through learning Torah. But us, and what level they were at, us, Kol Bnei Yisrael, all the Jewish people, that they should be careful in Kriya Shema and prayer. Their main emphasis should be on prayer. Rabbi Shimon, he was connected to God and aware of God and a servant of God by learning Torah. But we can't do that. And we're not to that level. We forget about God. We learn the Torah and we think about the ideas in the Torah. Right? We're connected to, what this person said, what that person, we remember something that said before, maybe this is a contradiction and we learn, but we're not interested in the godliness. We don't feel it's godly. We just feel this is amazing, like sort of a religious crossword puzzle or something that helps us to get into heaven. Who knows what people think when they learn the Torah? But thinking about God is usually last in the list of things that people think about when they learn the Torah. Maybe in the beginning, before they start learning. So therefore, he said that you have to be careful in Shema and prayer. And I was thinking about God. We can also, that means Zahir, that really means being careful. Like I said, the word careful also means to shine. Zohar ba'or, light. Kamo Zohar Rakia, like it says, the shining of the heavens. Sha'af, she'ikar inyan Zohar, even though the main thing of shining and making light is by means of learning Torah, like it says Torah or. The Torah is what illuminates the world. Ubafran, and especially the limud, uba often the Torah to amenuto, especially when the Torah is, that's what he does all the time. Shekol mitziuto, that his whole being is learning the Torah. Mikol makom, nevertheless, mishtadel Rabbi Shimon, the tovatam shall. Rabbi Shimon is stressing the good of those people that have not reached this level of being able to learn Torah all the time. Because the main thing is the Torah. When God gave the Torah in Mount Sinai, that's when everything shook. Inside of the Torah, the commandments. But the main novelty was the Torah. So he said, therefore, but not everybody can sit and learn Torah all the time. Shagam, Etzalam, Inyan, Zohar, that also by the simple people will also be Torah and Kriya Shema, and I'm sorry, the light of the Torah and of God when they say Shema and prayer. Until finally they can also get to this level of feeling the godliness in the Torah. Al derech adugmas, like it says before, Avitalmid shel Aaron, you'll be one of the pupils of Aaron, that you'll love all the creations. That's what the Torah should bring you to, and makarvim to the Torah, and bring them close to the Torah. Because the whole purpose is learning Torah. Yesh Lomer, we can say Shahon Rav and Atinas Koach, that this teaching and this empowering, that we should shine when we say Shema Yisrael, and when we pray by Rabbi Shimon, and this is Rabbi Shimon hinting at Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that he was at a level that no one's going to get to, that he learned Torah constantly and he felt God all the time. Rabbi Shimon, namely that he brought light and illumination into Kriya Shema and prayer. This is Nimshach Midargas Achdus. This is from a level of unity which is above any sort of division. Sha'al Yada, that by means of this, Nasa Achibur, there is joining two ways of serving God in the Torah, namely bringing God down from below to above. That's the Torah. And Kriya Shema and prayer, that's elevating yourself from below to above. If we can add on, the Torah, when you learn Torah. As Torah, there are also two ways: drawing down godliness and elevating. Can you do it like it's known? Rabbi Tzadok Reb Hillel Miparich. He said he was one of the famous Hasidim of the first Rebbe of Chabad. Benogea saying the Hasidut of the Tzemach Tzedek. And similarly, by all of the rabbis, it says Shamirat Maimer, when the Rebbe would say a Maimer, like that's what we learn when we learn Likutei Torah. When saying one of these Ma'amarim, one of these discourses is woven that the Shekhinah is speaking through his mouth. Just like the Torah being given at Mount Sinai, which is not the case, the explanation and the debate that goes on in the Maimer, even by the Maimer himself, after he says the Maimer, the explanations. When he's saying the Maimer, God is speaking through his mouth. After he says the Maimer, even when he's explaining that the Torah has two ways of being drawn from above. There's one way is that the Torah is given from above to below. That's when the Rebbe says a Maimer, he's just completely not there. He's just like a pipeline coming down from God. And the other way is that he's an explanation. He explains it from below to above. Al derech, like it says, dugma the klolos achilot, the difference between Torah and Kriya Shema and prayer. Ha'amor la'el, this is especially that we're talking about something that is really relevant to now. So what's the Rebbe saying? Again, what's the Rebbe saying over here? We're at the end of the exile. We're in the beginning of the redemption. We have to love every Jew and bring out the good which is in every Jew, and that will bring out the good which is in the whole world, because the Jews are chosen to tell the whole world how much God loves them. But we have to have love between ourselves first of all. And this is also done by learning the Torah. And if you can't learn the Torah all the time, then in the commandments and saying Shema, prayer. When you say Shema Yisrael, you should understand the simple meaning of the words, but you should also be thinking about not just what the words mean in English or whatever your language are, but what they're referring to. They're referring to God. Then when you say that, you start to feel in godliness everywhere. You start to realize that, hey, we're just creations, and that there's laws of creation. Just like there's physical laws of nature, there's laws of God. And one of the laws is that just like in the laws of nature, a living thing is always moving. So we have to also be moving. One way is that we get life from above, that's the Torah, and that we give it back, that's prayer. Moving, circulating. That brings us to unity and life of each and every one of us and brings it into the world. This is what we said before. This is especially an additional thing regarding to Siyumim in the 9 days. This next, what is it? What did we say before? This next Wednesday, Wednesday is going to be the first day of the month of. So it's a custom that every day somebody, in the course of the year, everybody learned the Talmud, and or even in these days, but they learned the Talmud and they got up to the last few words. And in these 9 days, you finish, you make like a little get together and you say these last few words. I have finished the tractate. So that's called the Siyum. We should make Siyum in these 9 days. Nosef on the whole custom that making Siyum in the 9 days in order to increase the joy of the Torah. There's some people that, in these 9 days that are coming up from not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. No, I'm sorry. From this coming Wednesday for 9 days, it's forbidden to eat meat and drink wine, except for Shabbat. Eat meat and drink wine. So some people, they make these siyums of the Torah so that they can eat meat and drink wine at the meals. They actually do. We don't do that in Chabad, but there's other very good and holy Jews that do so. Simcha legmora shel Torah, the finishing joy of the finishing of the Torah. Dugmaso, like finishing a tractate. Ki chazina, we saw Tzurba the Rabbanan when the rabbis saw the Shalim Masechta that they finished one tractate of the Yom Tov. They made a holiday for the other rabbis. Kol el gam usafa b'tzedakah. We should also add on charity. So we should try to finish a tractate once a day, or someone should finish. And you should give more charity, especially with the Rebbe said also you should increase in loving every Jew, see the good in everybody. But also you should give charity. That's mishpat. Tzion b'mishpat, that's Torah and charity, of which brings the redemption closer. We should make a special effort that this year, when we make this siyums, when we make these parties of finishing, right, the celebration for finishing a tractate, Barovam, there should be as many people as possible. La'ached Rabim Yisrael, you should unite the Jews with joy in finishing the Torah. Kolel, including also children. Laura, only not children in their knowledge, but simple children to bring children, little children there. Children that are 2 years old, 3 years old. Like we make Erev Pesach, the custom is that before the Passover, they make a siyum so you won't have to fast for the Tainus B'chor, for the fast of the firstborn. Shesiyum the Erev Pesach, that we finish a tractate right before Passover, and this is Eno Dugma Ba'alma. This is not just I'm bringing you this example that like we make a siyum before Passover, so we won't have to fast. So we make a siyum now also, so we won't have to mourn in these 9 days. So I'm not just bringing this as an example, specifically the fast we make before Passover, but this is relevant to the siyum of the 9 days. Why? Because the siyum, that we finish a tractate right before Passover, this is a preparation for Passover, which Passover was the unique thing that happened. Only the Jewish people had a thing like this, that God took a whole entire nation out of exile. And God is going to do it again. He's going to take the whole entire Jewish nation, as spread around in spiritually and physically as we are. He's going to take us all out. The Siyum of Tishat Yomim. So therefore, this completing of tractates in these 9 days, this is a preparation for the future redemption, which it says like the days of going out of Egypt. I will show you miracles. Right? What's it? In Micha. It's a prophecy in the prophet Micha. Yes. Especially this year, that this is the year of Eran and Niflora, because there was Tav Shin Nun Aleph, but this year is Tav Shin Pei Gimel, Tieh Shanat Pilaot Gdolot, big miracles. Okay, I just made that up. Here it's all may be God's will. Shadibor v'hachlatat tova, that the speaking about and the resolutions that we have made and all these things to increase in Torah, to increase in charity, to increase in loving every Jew, to increase in our awareness that any second the redemption is supposed to be to raise above all differences and all difficulties in the world. The number 5, we said before, we're going to the 5th month, to learn by Aaron, to love everybody and draw them closer to the Torah, even the Torah of Moshiach, where we'll feel the godliness in it, that talking about this and making resolutions will hurry up and speed up and bring actually the future redemption in the 3rd temple. Over Pashtos, and simply speaking, Shenosav Lakach, that in addition to the fact that we've already finished all of the 42 journeys in the desert and the desert of exile, Shebazman Galus, we are now on just the edge of going into the land of Israel, Yarden Yerecho, and that's with Mashiach. And the Rebbe is hinting at here that he's the Mashiach. He already said that the previous Rebbe is the Mashiach, and that he's just taking the place of the previous Rebbe. Me'ever Yarden Yerecho, Kadmal Mizracha, is over him as a Yarden. We go over the Jordan River, Me'arva and Marava, in the direction of the west. We're going to the land of Israel. Over Eretz Israel and the land of Israel itself, we're going even more to the west, Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem itself, we're going even more to the third temple. And in the third temple, you go to the Holy of Holies, right? More and more into the Holy of Temples. Shabon Nimsa, that's where the ark is and the tablets. That will wake up and rejoice those who are sleeping in the dirt. And there's the dead will raise up. Huh? There's a serious business here. The Rebbe's not talking in, right? Up to now, we thought, good, Torah and mitzvahs. The dead are going to raise up. Moshe and Aaron. Moses and Aaron. Bala Hilula, the Rosh Chodesh Menachamov. The Kol Tzadikim and all the Tzadikim and the Nesei Yisrael Imam and the usually I think in the movies and things they how do you say, they purvey, is that the word? The dead raising up is a scary thing, right? There's all these bones and rotting flesh is going to raise up, and what is it, right? It's exactly the opposite. There won't be any more death. There won't be any more scary things. There won't be any more fear or death or disease. It says all death, all bad things will raise up from the dirt. There'll be Moses, Aaron. He's the one that was born on the first day of with them, and all the tzaddikim and all the leaders of the Jews and the previous Rebbe with them, and together with the souls and bodies, all the Jewish people of our generation, our youth, our elders, our sons, our daughters. Ve'itam taluktu echad va'atem taluktu echad achad. That you Jewish people will be gathered. God gathers up the Jews one by one. He plucks them up. All of a sudden, this guy gets in. Wow, I saw that thing on television. I saw a picture of Lubavitcher Rebbe. Somebody asked me to put on tefillin. I yelled at him. I went home, thought, why am I yelling at him? I went back. Every person, something happens to him that wakes up his Jewish identity. Kulam Yachtov, all of them, they will learn the Torah, Chadasha, the new Torah, the godly feeling of the Torah from me. Eila Devorim Asher Diber Moshe, and we're starting the 5th book of the Torah. I'm talking about they come from Moses. He's the first redeemer. He'll be the last redeemer to all of the Jewish people. Like it says, Eila Devorim. Eila means these. We'll see. We'll point with our finger and we'll say, Eila. These are the words of God, the Torah, the Poel Ubegiloi. Take over Miyad Mamash, that we will experience the redemption, the future redemption. And says the Rebbe, it's here. And especially all the ingredients are inside of us. We just have to reveal it, be positive, be brave, be loving, be, how do you say, dynamic, and bring out the good in everything. Ignore the bad. And we'll see a whole new world with a future redemption. Okay, that is, Baruch Hashem, the Dvar Malchut. Now let's do the Yom Yom for today and for Shabbat.